Redditors with thin walls, what have you heard in your apartment? My old neighbor was a cam girl and I could hear absolutely everything she said in every single session for a good 4 months. Pretty much learned the names of her clients. I work from home, and it was always a gamble whenever I had to meet with someone virtually. This sounds like you could find out where she works pretty easily. Not that I would, but you know, it'd be great to pop in head chat going, hey neighbor, gonna head to the store, you need something from there. Just look, I've got a conference call with my boss in 15 minutes, wrap it up. I once heard a former roommate laughing with his then girlfriend about how they're fucking me over on money. Turned out they were taking my utility portion and buying various games and alcohol. Instead of confronting them, I confirmed what they said with the utilities company. They hadn't paid the bill as 2 months, and I moved all my stuff out that day while they were at work. For good measure, I took myself off the lease and told them about the GF that had been there 6 months. Lost the battle, but you won the war. Fucking losers. Arguably didn't even lose the battle, or paid his share of the utilities and had use of them during that time. When the utilities invariably will be shut off, it won't be on op to bring them current. I can hear when my neighbors vacuum. Our building tends to vacuum together as a result. I hear my upstairs neighbor and go, oh hey, I should vacuum, haven't done that in a while, and it's already noisy. Then my downstairs neighbor and my left hand neighbor start vacuuming. It's kinda hilarious. My right hand neighbor doesn't vacuum with us, but does sing opera while doing dishes. Do you ever run into your neighbors in the hall and be like, good vacuuming yesterday, huh? A good suck in with the boys, huh? Years ago I had an upstairs neighbor. At 2 AM every night, I would hear something sprint across the entire apartment. I realized 3 things. It was very fast, it took small strides, and it never deviated from its path. One day, I saw my neighbor outside and I said, I don't know how you have energy at 2 AM. He responded with, dude, I've been working the midnight to 8 AM shift for 15 years. Doesn't bother me at all. That night, I watched him leave his house, drive off, and waited 2 hours. At exactly 2 AM, I heard what sounded like 2 feet hit the floor in his bedroom, and the marathon started. A few weeks later, I see him outside. I tell him what I hear at night and he says, that's strange. No one has my keys. It's just me and my rabbit up there. I got really scared it was a ghost or a creepy murderer living in the attic, but now that it was a bunny, it's pretty sweet. I've heard and felt the neighbors upstairs having sex, and apparently they like to rearrange the furniture at least twice a week. My upstairs neighbors used to do the furniture moving thing. We both had studio apartments, and it was a huge mystery to me how they could move what sounded like a warehouse full of furniture for an hour in such a tiny place. I actually manage an apartment complex where my office is surrounded by a 1-bedroom unit. The building is old and the walls are thin. The tenant that used to live in the unit was a quiet man, but would frequently sing beautiful opera music. His voice was amazing, and I loved it every time I heard him sing. Then one time I saw him in the halls and made the mistake of asking if he was the one who sang these beautiful opera songs. His face turned red, but he confirmed that it was him. I told him that I always enjoyed it when I heard him sing, and that it would always brighten my day. Never should have said anything, because I never heard him sing again. I had a neighbor who was a professional opera singer. While chatting one day I made a comment about her singing. She got embarrassed and said she would start practicing in her bedroom or another location so as to not bother me. I had to all but beg her not to do such a thing as I thoroughly enjoyed it. I once heard an argument that went a little like this. Stop treating me like I'm stupid. You asked if seahorses were mammals, Jessica. They give live birth. So, are seahorses mammals? Actually, if I'm correct, the females lays eggs, like a normal fish would, and the male keeps them in a pouch on his tummy, until they're ready to emerge. William. We do not hit. His mom was visiting. He was 30. Poor mom. I feel bad for laughing at this. My upstairs neighbors taking turns zapping each other with a stun gun, hitting the floor, groaning in pain. and then laughing like Beavis and Butthead. I'm pretty sure I'd like your upstairs neighbors. I'd totally let myself be tased at least once. Judging by the sounds from upstairs, you'd have to allow it way more than once to roll with their crew. Fuck you, man. If you don't like spaghetti, then you don't like me. This speaks to me on a spiritual level. Heard the couple next door arguing. The wife was furious because she realized he had been cheating on her after she found out she had chlamydia. He tried to convince her that she must have been the unfaithful one. She still lives there. He doesn't. Similar one, my brother and I shared an apartment, and he told me one morning that the night before he had heard one of the male college students in the apartment above us having a heated discussion with what he assumes is the guy's girlfriend. He could only hear the guy's half of the conversation, but the line that most caught his attention was a very sincere, "I wouldn't have come in her mouth if I loved her." The type of guy that says that totally would have came in the GF's mouth and not realize what he said. Yeah girl, you know you want this dick. My college roommate 3 kids later it's apparent she did, in fact, want it. After the 3rd kid I'm surprised you didn't want some too. Clearly the dick was fire. Reddit. Thank you for the silver kind stranger. In our old apartment our upstairs neighbor had extremely loud, theatrically enthusiastic sex in the middle of the day. The puzzle was that he would stop in the middle and we'd hear him walk to where the bathroom is, stay there for a minute or two, and then walk back and resume in the bedroom. It was the same pattern every time. We could never figure out what that was all about. Any ideas welcomed. Cocaine. An argument about money while I was doing the dishes. It ended with a slammed door and one of them on a piano, hitting the keys like a maniac. Some people read, some people go get something to eat, some people exercise. This motherfucker relieves stress by going crazy on a piano lol. Angrily plays Mozart. Lol, I can just imagine someone with a very distressed look on their face professionally playing Mozart and it's hilarious. Jinna, I love you. Jinna no. Jinna, damn it, put the knife down. At this point, both the apartments adjoining to Jinna's called the police. Jinna's husband decided to spend the night elsewhere. Can you elaborate on the story? I'm curious. Jinna's husband loved her. Jinna then picked up a knife. The neighbors called the police, so Jinna's husband then spent the night somewhere else. I moved from far away, so I have a different state license plate than everyone else at the apartment complex. A couple of days ago I had my upstairs neighbor drunkenly ranting to his wife about what he thinks I'm up to. He's convinced that I'm on the run from something. I'm just in grad school, Mayo. Grad school, for crime. I lived next to a guy who took care of his disabled girlfriend. She stayed home with a nurse while he worked to support them and pay for her healthcare. Everyone really admired him for it. He used to get drunk and tell her that if she doesn't start putting out he's gonna throw her ass out. I was expecting something nice and now I feel like I turned hard into a wall. I was expecting a twist. I was not expecting that twist. I lived next to a couple some years ago and they came home after a night out and started fighting about who was better at darts. I thought they were joking, but it got pretty heated. Doors were slammed. Edit, since people are asking, they were playing darts at the bar earlier that night. From what I could tell they were playing as a team and the boyfriend wasn't pulling his weight and was super defensive about it, had an off night, allegedly. The girlfriend was mad he couldn't accept she was better. I'm no detective, but think they had some relationship issues bigger than darts. I still don't know who thought it was a good idea to combine alcohol and darts. There's this new fad of axe throwing. Axe throwing places keep popping up, and they all sell alcohol. Who thought axes and alcohol should be mixed? And their insurance rates must be insane. My university accommodation had paper-thin walls. You could hear people having sex 5 doors down, and I could hear my friend's music from even further away. Yeah, my college dorms were the same. My roommate asked from her room how to spell something, and our neighbor called to tell her how to spell it. It was hilarious to us. More what my neighbor heard. I'm a deep sleeper and was an even deeper sleeper as a teenager. My phone alarm was going off for 30 minutes and my neighbors could hear it through the walls, assumed it was a burglar alarm, and called the police. Waking up to the police banging on my door was confusing. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos.